I checked the clock again. 8:47 p.m., the candles were half burned, the pasta cold, and the playlist looping the same love song for the third time. She's just stuck in traffic. I muttered to myself, poking the untouched plate. She said she'd leave early tonight. The rain outside hit the windows in sharp, steady rhythms. I had imagined this evening 1,000 times the moment she'd walk in, surprised, maybe even cry a little. I'd tell her I quit my job, that I finally took the leap we'd talked about for years. I looked at the letter on the table, her name written in the corner. For Elena, my phone buzzed. Not her. Just Liam. Bro, you alive? You disappeared from the office like you robbed the place. Me, big night. Our anniversary's tomorrow. I wanted to surprise her. Liam. Romantic read strikes again. Hope she appreciates it. Me? Yeah, she will. Except she didn't answer my text from 2 hours ago, or the one from 1 hour ago. By 9:30, I started calling, once, twice, 3 times. Straight to voicemail. Hey, it's me again. Just checking if you're okay. Roads look rough tonight. Call me when you can. I tried to sound casual, but my voice cracked halfway through. I poured a glass of wine, stared at her empty chair. Maybe she was mad. Maybe I forgot something. But no, I'd remembered everything this time. Her favorite wine, the lilies she liked. Even that stupid jazz record she said made her feel home. 10:15. Still nothing. I tried her office line. No answer. I texted again. Me. Elena, just call me please. I stood by the window, watching headlights blur through the rain. I hated how familiar that waiting felt, that quiet hollow ache between faith and fear. The front door didn't open. My phone didn't ring. At 11:02, I called Liam again. Hey, he said, voice groggy. Everything good? I don't know. She's not home yet. She's probably with her team. Didn't she have a client dinner? She didn't mention one. You're spiraling, man. She's not that kind of person. I know, I whispered. At least I thought I did. I hung up before he could answer. 11:47 p.m., the candles had died. I sat in silence, the letter still sealed. I told myself I wouldn't look at her social media. I failed. Her last post was from 2 hours ago. A photo of wine glasses captioned, New Beginnings. No tag. No clue where. Just, gone, new beginnings. I repeated out loud, my stomach tightening. What the hell does that mean? Midnight came quietly. The kind of quiet that hums in your chest. Our anniversary. I raised my glass to an empty chair. Happy anniversary, Elena. Then the phone buzzed again. Finally, I grabbed it so fast I almost dropped it. A single text. Elena, I can't do this anymore. No punctuation. No call. Just that line. I stared at it for a full minute, waiting for a follow-up, an explanation, anything. But nothing came. What do you mean you can't do this? I whispered to no one. What can't you do? Be my wife, be here. I typed back, Elena, talk to me, please. Delivered. Not read, I called. Straight to voicemail. I threw my phone on the table and grabbed my jacket. The rain hit my face like needles as I ran downstairs. Maybe her car was outside. Maybe she was still nearby. The parking spot was empty. I stood there, drenched, staring at the space where her silver sedan should have been. My chest felt hollow, like someone had reached in and pulled something out. I called Liam again. He answered on the third ring. Daniel. What the It's midnight. She left what? She texted. Said she can't do this anymore. Wait, what? Are you sure it's not a fight thing? She packed her stuff. How do you know? I know. I heard him sigh. I'm coming over. Don't, I said quietly. I don't want anyone here right now. He hesitated. You shouldn't be alone. I already am. I hung up. I went back upstairs, dripping water across the hardwood floor. Her side of the closet door hung open. Empty hangers. The photo frame on the nightstand was gone. Even her perfume gone. The silence was suffocating. I sat on the edge of the bed and laughed, not because it was funny, but because the sound of it kept me from falling apart. This can't be real. I said to the empty room. People don't just vanish. Not like this. I opened her drawer, searching for something, anything she might have left behind. Nothing but a crumpled receipt from a restaurant we'd never gone to Caf Belmore. She'd gone there 2 weeks ago. Said it was for a client meeting. My phone buzzed again, and I nearly dropped the drawer. But it wasn't her. It was Liam. Liam, call me if you need me. I'm serious, me. I'm fine. Liam, you're not. Me, maybe not, but she's gone. I stared at the message thread. 3 years of memories, emojis, I love us, little grocery lists all stacked above the one message that destroyed everything. I can't do this anymore. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes, hours maybe. The city outside blurred into streaks of grey and yellow. When the first light of dawn crept through the blinds, I finally stood up. The letter was still on the table. I opened it slowly. Elena, I quit my job today. I'm starting our firm. The one we dreamed about. The one that was supposed to be ours. I just wanted to tell you how proud I am of us, of everything we've built together. You're my reason for everything. Happy anniversary. Love, Daniel. I folded it back and set it beside her empty plate. Then I walked outside, barefoot, into the rain. The street was quiet. The world looked the same, except I wasn't. I whispered goodbye, though she couldn't hear it. And somewhere between the thunder and my heartbeat, I finally accepted it. The woman I built my world around had walked away without looking back. The morning light hit my eyes before I was ready to face it. My head throbbed. I reached for her side of the bed, cold. I called out, even though I knew. The apartment was too still, too hollow. I walked to the closet. Half of it was empty. Her dresses, shoes, even the green scarf I bought her in Paris. I stared at the empty hangers like they might explain something. Her ring sat on the counter. Beside my coffee mug, I picked it up slowly. You could have at least said goodbye, I whispered. Or lead. I would have believed anything. My phone buzzed. Liam. Liam, you awake? Me, barely. Liam, she come home. Me, no, she left. Took everything, Liam. Jesus. I'm coming over. Me, don't. I don't want to talk. Liam, you need to talk. Me, I need her to answer the damn phone. I hung up. I opened her laptop, half expecting her to burst in and yell at me for invading her privacy. She didn't. Her emails were open project files, client follow-ups, and a message titled Flight Confirmation. My stomach twisted. Departure, 6:45 a.m. Destination, Seattle. I stared at it until the letters blurred. You ran, I whispered. You actually ran. The coffee machine sputtered to life automatically, filling the silence with an empty sound. I grabbed the mug and sat on the couch, surrounded by the ghost of her perfume. The doorbell rang. Liam stood there, hair a mess, holding 2 paper cups. You look like hell, he said. I earned it, I muttered, taking one of the cups. She left town. He blinked. Left town? What do you mean? Plane ticket, Seattle. Did you fight? No. I laughed bitterly. That's the thing. We didn't fight. We were fine. Or, I thought we were. Liam sat down. She didn't leave for nothing. Man, she left me. That's something. He rubbed the back of his neck. You should take a day off. Don't go to the office. I'm not going back. What? I quit. His eyes widened. You Daniel, that's insane. She's gone, Liam. I spent 5 years in that place killing myself for a future she doesn't even want. Why should I stay? He leaned forward. You're making decisions in shock. I'm making decisions because everything I built just collapsed. He sighed. You can't just burn everything. Watch me. He didn't argue after that. He just stared, like he was looking at someone he didn't recognize. After he left, I wandered through the apartment, opening drawers like maybe she'd left a note. Nothing, just silence and dust. Her toothbrush was gone, her favorite mug missing, her perfume bottle still there, but empty. I opened her dresser one last time. In the corner was a small stack of envelopes and receipts. One card slipped out and landed face down. White. Expensive paper. Silver letters. Carter and Lowe Enterprises. I frowned. Where have I heard that? Then it hit me. Mark Carter. Her old client. The one she called just a friend. I remembered that night months ago. Mark's just helping me with networking, she'd said, and I'd laughed. Networking doesn't usually involve 11 p.m. texts. She'd rolled her eyes. You're being paranoid. I hadn't pushed it then. I wish I had. The air felt heavier now. I gripped the card until the edges dug into my palm. Carter and Lowe. I said again, like saying it would make sense of anything. I dialed her number one more time. Straight to voicemail. Elena, if you're with him. I stopped. No, just call me please. I tossed the phone across the couch. It landed face down with a dull thud. The silence pressed harder. I went to the balcony and stared at the city below, people rushing to work, laughing, living. Everything normal, except for me. I thought about how she used to say, I want more, Daniel. Don't you? I used to think she meant for both of us. Maybe she just meant herself. My phone buzzed again. Liam, you okay? Me, define okay. Liam, eat something. Don't drown yourself in wine again. Me, I'm fine. Liam, you're not. Me. Then tell me what I'm supposed to do. Liam, start by breathing. Then pack a bag. Stay with me for a while. Me, no, I can't leave yet. He didn't argue this time. He just texted back, call me if you need to talk. I dropped the phone and leaned against the railing. My reflection in the glass looked older, defeated. Why him? I whispered. Why that guy? I went back inside, opened my laptop, and searched Carter and Lowe Enterprises. Their website popped up sleek, gold accents, smiling faces. And right there, in the leadership section, Mark Carter, CEO. His smile was confident, smug, the kind that said, I win. A chill ran down my spine. I closed the laptop. You chose him. The words burned, coming out. You actually chose him. The sky darkened again, and I sat on the floor, staring at her ring on the counter. I picked it up, turning it over in my palm. The metal felt cold, lifeless. This was supposed to mean something, I whispered. All those promises, all those plans. The tears came before I could stop them. I laughed through them, bitter and broken. Congratulations, Daniel. You finally built the perfect life for someone else to live. The phone buzzed once more. A spam email. I almost deleted it until I saw the subject line. Welcome to Carter and Lowe's new client portal. My chest tightened. Her email address. Her name attached. My hands trembled as I whispered, you really did it. I set the phone down slowly. The room felt smaller now. Suffocating. Everything the job, the dreams. The love gone, overnight. I grabbed the card again, staring at the silver letters until they blurred. That's when I said it out loud, voice steady this time. Mark Carter, I whispered. You took everything from me. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just heartbreak anymore. It was the beginning of something else. The days bled into each other after she left. Morning, night, it all looked the same. I stopped checking the clock. Time stopped checking on me too. Daniel, you can't keep doing this. Liam's voice came through the phone one morning, calm but firm. I'm fine, I lied, staring at the eviction notice taped to the door. You've said that for 6 months. It's true this time. You sound like a man trying to convince himself. He sighed. I can get you freelance works, more stuff, logo designs, residential plans. I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's survival. Then maybe I'm not interested in surviving. The silence that followed was heavier than the air in that apartment. When he hung up, I sat on the floor, surrounded by piles of unopened mail and coffee cups. My reflection in the dark TV screen looked like someone I used to know. Weeks passed. The landlord kicked me out. I moved into a shoebox apartment that smelled like dust and detergent. The walls were thin enough to hear my neighbor's laughter. I used to envy that sound now. I feared it. Sometimes I'd stare at old drafts of the firm Elena and I dreamed of. Reed & Co., her name was supposed to follow mine. Now, even her handwriting on the sketches felt like a ghost whispering, "You weren't enough." Still breathing. Liam texted once. "Barely good means there's still something to fix." He showed up one afternoon with groceries. "I told you not to come, and I told you I don't listen." He set the bags down and studied me. "You look like you wrestled with a thunderstorm." "I lost." He smiled weakly. "Then start training for the rematch." I wanted to laugh. Instead, I sank onto the couch. "You don't get it, Liam. She was my reason. Everything I did of redesign, every long night it was for us. And then she just, vanished." He sat beside me. "Then maybe now it's time to do it for you." "For me?" I scoffed. "There's nothing left to build on." "There is," he said quietly. "You just stopped looking." That night, I opened my laptop for the first time in months. Blank screen. Blinking cursor. It stared back like a challenge. I started sketching a tiny cafe, a park bench, a forgotten street corner. My hand shook at first, but then something clicked. My lines found rhythm again. The shapes became hope in disguise. Days turned into weeks, then months. I picked up small online projects, nothing fancy, but enough to pay rent. I redesigned apartments, drew minimalist spaces, created light where there was none. Each design felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Liam called again one night. "Guess what? If it's another lecture, pass. You just got your first client referral. They loved your portfolio." I leaned back, almost laughing. "You're kidding." "Nope. Told you you're not done yet." By the end of that year, redesigns existed. A small logo, a website, a registered license. Nothing glamorous, but it was mine. The first project, a boutique renovation, kept me up nights, but I didn't mind. I wasn't drowning anymore. I was learning to breathe again. One evening, while reviewing blueprints, Liam dropped by, unannounced. "You've been quiet lately," he said, setting down 2 coffees. "I've been working. I can see that. You've got that haunted genius look again." I grinned faintly. "Progress then," he nodded, scanning the sketches pinned on my wall. "You're building again, Daniel. It suits you." We sat in silence for a while. For once, silence didn't hurt. Then he said it softly, almost hesitant. "You'll never guess who's expanding into your city." I looked up, confused. "Who?" "Carter Ilo." The name hit me like a cold blade. My pen slipped from my hand. "You're sure?" "Press release went out today. New branch, downtown." My heart pounded in slow, angry beats. Elena's voice echoed in my memory. "Mark's just a friend." I stared at the sketches in front of me. The ones that had kept me alive this long. My pulse steadied, but something darker stirred beneath the calm. "Then I guess it's time," I said quietly. "Time for what?" Liam asked. I looked at him, my jaw tight. To see what's left of the man she ran to. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The silence spoke for both of us. For the first time in a year, I didn't feel broken. I felt something else sharp, alive, dangerous. The year that broke me was over. The one that would define me had just begun. Sophie's voice cut through the hum of my computer. "You've got an email marked urgent. From Carter and Lowe." I froze. "Say that again." "Carter and Lowe Enterprises," she repeated, peering at my screen. "Looks like a collaboration request. Luxury housing project, downtown." I stared at the glowing name like it was a ghost crawling out of my past. "That's impossible? You want me to delete it?" My cursor hovered over trash. "No," I whispered. "Leave it?" She tilted her head. "You're actually considering it?" "I don't know," I muttered, leaning back. "Maybe I just want to see what kind of people reach out to the man they stepped over." "Daniel," she said softly, "whatever this is, don't let it drag you backward." But it was too late. My mind was already spiraling backward to Elena's ring on the counter, to the silence that broke me. I clicked reply. "I accept the meeting." The next morning, I walked into Carter and Lowe's glass tower. The place smelled of ambition and expensive lies. My reflection in the mirrored elevator looked composed, but my hands betrayed me, trembling in my pockets. Sophie whispered beside me, "You sure you want me in there?" "Yeah," I said. "I'll need someone sane." When the elevator doors opened, I was greeted by a man with a polished grin and a voice too smooth to trust. "Mr. Reed, pleasure to finally meet. Mark Carter." His handshake was firm, rehearsed. "I've heard good things," I said, forcing a smile. "All true, I hope." He laughed, leading us into a glass-walled conference room. "Let's get right to it." And then, she was there. Elena, sitting across the table, poised and immaculate in a grey blazer. Her hair shorter, sharper, everything about her screamed distance. But her eyes, those still carried the ghosts of the life we built. For a heartbeat, the world stopped. She blinked, lips parting slightly. "Daniel." My throat tightened. "Elena." Mark glanced between us. "Are you two know each other?" Her composure snapped back instantly. "Used to, I see," he said, intrigued but amused. "Well, that saves introductions. Elena's our new creative manager. She'll be overseeing the design side of this project." I let out a short, humorless breath. "Of course she will." Mark didn't catch it. Sophie did. She shot me a glance that said, "Stay calm." "Shall we begin?" Mark continued, pulling up a digital model. "We're envisioning a blend of modern minimalism and organic warmth, something that says sophistication but not sterility. Daniel, your designs are known for emotional depth, which is exactly what we need." I forced my attention on the model. "You want homes that feel alive." "Exactly," Elena spoke up. "I've reviewed his work. His use of space is thoughtful." I almost laughed. "Thoughtful? That's new coming from you." Her jaw tightened. "We're here to discuss architecture, not history." Mark chuckled awkwardly. "I like the passion. Creative tension fuels brilliance, doesn't it?" "Depends who's burning," I muttered. Sophie nudged me under the table. Mark went on about timelines and budgets, but every word blurred into white noise. My gaze kept drifting toward Elena. The woman who once fell asleep next to me sketching dream homes was now across the table, nodding like a stranger. When Mark stepped out to take a call, the room went quiet. Elena broke it first. "You shouldn't have come." I met her eyes. "You invited me. That email wasn't from me, no." I leaned forward. "Still, you're here. Seems fitting." She exhaled. "This isn't personal. It used to be everything personal." Her eyes darted toward the door. "Daniel, please. Don't do this here." "I'm not doing anything," I said evenly. "I'm just remembering who taught me what betrayal looks like in high heels." She flinched, barely noticeable. "You think this is easy for me?" I almost laughed. "You're wearing a $5,000 suit. I'm guessing it's not that hard." Her hand twitched, but she said nothing. Mark re-entered. "Everything all right here?" "Perfect," I said quickly. "We were just discussing perspective." "Good," he smiled. "That's what makes design powerful, perspective." When the meeting wrapped, Mark extended his hand again. "So, can we count on redesigns?" I hesitated. Elena looked at me. "Unreadable." Sophie whispered, "You don't owe them anything." But something inside me, the part that had survived the storm, wanted this. Not for revenge, not even closure. For control. "You can count on me," I said, shaking his hand. Mark grinned. "Excellent. Elena, coordinate with Daniel on design drafts." Her lips pressed into a tight line. "Of course." As we left, Sophie hissed under her breath, "What are you doing?" I smirked faintly. "Building something good, something inevitable." In the elevator, I caught my reflection again. The man who once broke in the rain now looked steady. "I thought facing her would destroy me," I murmured. Sophie tilted her head. "And now, I said, "I think it just started to rebuild me." The doors slid shut, sealing the silence between past and payback. Every time I stepped into that glass conference room, the air felt thinner. Elena sat 2 seats away, her tone clipped. Her eyes darting toward me like guilt was a reflex she couldn't suppress. "Daniel, Your renderings for the West Wing, she began. Already submitted, I cut in. Revised to match your layout changes. Her fingers brushed her pen. You didn't have to rush. I didn't, I said. I just don't like loose ends. Mark, oblivious as always, grinned from the head of the table. Efficient as ever, Reed. Maybe you could teach the rest of my team that work ethic. Elena's lips tightened. I caught the faintest tremor in her hand. It almost made me pity her, almost. After the meeting, Sophie followed me into my office. You're pushing her too hard, she whispered. I'm not saying anything I wouldn't in any meeting, I replied. Your tone says plenty. I looked at her. You think she deserves kindness? Sophie sighed. I think you deserve peace. Peace. The word felt foreign. That's not what I came here for, I muttered. She crossed her arms. Then what did you come here for, Daniel? I didn't answer. Instead, I stared out the window, down at the city that once swallowed me whole. Days blurred into meetings, sketches, and stolen glances. Every time she spoke, I felt that pull, the cruel reminder that once that voice had said, I love you. One evening, as the others filed out, Elena lingered near my desk. Can we talk? She asked quietly. I didn't look up. About work. No. Then, I'm busy. Please, Daniel. The way she said my name, careful, cracked, made me look up despite myself. 5 minutes, I said. She closed the door, her hands trembling slightly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed under my breath. You did though. Her eyes glistened. I thought I was doing the right thing. Mark promised you the world, I said flatly. And you handed him my heart in return. She swallowed. It wasn't like that then. How was it? I stood. You walked out the night before our anniversary. No fight, no explanation, just silence. You don't get to rewrite that. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them away. I was scared. You were changing, quitting your job for us, I interrupted. For you. The words hung heavy between us, she whispered. I thought he understood me, and now. Her silence told me everything. I exhaled slowly, my voice low. You didn't even look back, Elena. You just left. She took a step closer. I regret it every day. Regret doesn't rebuild what you burned. She flinched. You think I'm happy? I don't care what you are, I said, though my chest throbbed with a truth I didn't want to feel. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, face-palming. What's wrong? I asked. She hesitated, then turned the screen slightly. A message glowed. Dinner was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. From a woman named Hannah. I raised an eyebrow. Mark? She didn't answer. Well, I murmured. Karma's efficient this year. Her breath hitched. It's not what it looks like. I smiled faintly. Funny, that's what I told myself once. She pressed a hand to her forehead. He's been distant for weeks. Now I know why. Congratulations, I said softly. You've finally learned my lesson. Her tears fell freely now. You hate me, don't you? I looked at her, really looked. No, I said. Hating you means I still care. She covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. I'm sorry, Daniel. I walked toward the door. You're not sorry, I said without turning. You're just finally feeling what I felt. When I opened it, Sophie was standing there with a file. She saw Elena's red eyes, but said nothing. Meeting notes, Sophie said, handing me the folder. Thanks, I replied, keeping my voice even. After Elena slipped out, Sophie asked softly, Are you okay? I sat down, exhaling hard. Define okay. She leaned on the desk. You look lighter. Maybe watching karma do its job is therapeutic, I said with a half smile. Sophie smiled faintly. You don't sound cruel. I'm not, I said. I'm just done carrying the guilt she left me with. She nodded. Then maybe you're finally free. Maybe. Later that night, as I shut off the office lights, I caught sight of Elena through the glass wall. She sat alone at her desk, phone in hand, staring at a text that clearly wasn't from me. I didn't feel anger anymore, just an echo of the man I used to be. Sophie appeared beside me. You're still watching her. Old habit, I said. She's paying for what she did. Let her. I am, I whispered. By walking away, we stepped into the hallway together. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the ghost in the room. I was alive again, and she was the one haunted. Did you hear? Sophie asked, bursting into my office before I'd even looked up from my sketches. I hear a lot of things, I said. Most of them I try to forget. This one's worth remembering, she said, lowering her voice. Carter and Lowe's under investigation. Someone leaked project blueprints to a competitor. I set my pen down slowly. Leaked? She nodded. And Mark's losing investors by the hour. Half the team's been fired already. A faint grim smile tugged at my lips. Calm as punctual. Sophie hesitated. There's more. They're blaming Elena. The smile vanished. What? She was overseeing design transfers. Someone used her access to send the files. Mark's painting her as negligent, maybe even complicit. I leaned back, rubbing my temples. So he's throwing her under the bus. Looks like it. The room fell quiet, thick with irony. The woman who'd once left me for his promises was now being devoured by them. Sophie studied me carefully. What are you thinking? That justice doesn't always need a judge, I said softly. Are you happy about it? I exhaled. No, just done. She nodded slowly. You've come a long way from the guy who couldn't eat for days. Pain teaches discipline, I murmured. And discipline teaches silence. 2 days later, I found Elena in the hallway outside my office. Her eyes were red, makeup smudged, and her voice cracked before she even spoke. Daniel, please, can I talk to you? I didn't answer at first. Just stared at the woman who'd once shattered me without a word. She swallowed hard. Please, I stepped aside. 5 minutes. She walked in hesitantly, clutching her phone like it was the last lifeline she had. They're saying I sold the designs, she whispered. I didn't. I swear I didn't. I know, I said quietly. She blinked, startled. You believe me? I know, Mark, I replied. That's enough. Her breath hitched. He's not returning my calls. The company's blaming everything on me. I can't even show my face online without people calling me a fraud. I leaned against the desk. Now you know how it feels. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I deserve that. Maybe, I said. But not like this. She shook her head. Don't defend me, Daniel. I don't deserve your pity. I'm not pitying you. Then what are you doing? Trying to decide if I should feel anything at all. She covered her face, sobbing quietly. I made the worst mistake of my life. I chose the wrong man, the wrong path, everything. You chose yourself, I said. You thought he'd give you more than I could. Her voice broke. He made me feel seen. And now, she laughed bitterly. Now I feel invisible. The silence between us was suffocating. I could hear her breathing shallow, trembling, the sound of someone who finally understood loss. She looked up at me, desperate. I don't expect forgiveness, but I can't survive this alone. My throat tightened. You survived leaving me, she winced. Barely. I wanted to reach for her, part of me still did, but I stayed still. You'll survive this too. Her lip quivered. Do you really hate me that much? No, I said. I just stopped loving you the way I used to. She stared at me for a long time. You've changed. I had to, I replied. You left me no choice. Her eyes filled again. I don't know where to go. You'll figure it out, I said. You always do. Mark's ruined me. No, I said gently. You ruined yourself when you believed him. She let out a broken laugh, shaking her head. I thought success would make me happy. Success built on lies always collapses. Her shoulders sagged. I can't fix this. Then stop trying to, I said. Start over. Like I did. She took a shaky breath. I don't have your strength. You will, I said. When pain finally teaches you what pride never could. She met my eyes, silent for a long moment. Thank you. For listening. I didn't do it for you, I whispered.
She nodded faintly, turned toward the door, and paused. If I'd stayed, do you think we could have made it? I swallowed hard. We'll never know. She walked out slowly, closing the door behind her. The moment the latch clicked, I sank into my chair. My chest ached, not from love, not from hatred, but from the weight of closure I hadn't asked for. Sophie peeked in a few minutes later. She came to see you, didn't she? Yeah. How'd it go? She cried, I said simply. And you? I didn't. Sophie studied me for a beat, then smiled gently. That's progress. Maybe, I said, leaning back. Or maybe it's just numbness. Sometimes numbness is healing in disguise. I looked out the window at the city lights flickering in the distance, the same city where everything had fallen apart and somehow rebuilt itself. She finally knows how it feels, I murmured. Sophie didn't ask what I meant. She just nodded and left me alone with the quiet hum of victory that didn't feel like triumph, only release. I heard the knock before I saw her shadow. It was softer this time, hesitant, almost pleading. Daniel? Her voice barely carried through the door. I didn't answer. Part of me hoped she'd walk away. But she didn't. When I finally opened the door, Elena stood there, hair undone, eyes swollen, a faint trace of humility where arrogance used to live. Can I come in? She asked quietly. I stepped aside. You already did once. Might as well do it again. She managed a small, broken smile. I deserve that. You deserve worse, I said. I know. She sat down, clutching her hands together. But I didn't come for pity. Then why are you here? To tell the truth. I leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Go on. Her voice trembled. Mark, he used me. Said he needed access to your archives, your old designs. I didn't know what he planned to do. He said it was just for reference. I let out a bitter laugh. And you believed him? I wanted to. I needed to. He made me feel like I mattered. You mattered to me once, I said. That didn't stop you from walking away. Her eyes filled again. I was stupid. Blinded by ambition. I thought success would fix the emptiness I carried. But it only made it worse. I stayed silent, studying her. The woman in front of me wasn't the one who'd left, this was someone hollowed out by her own choices. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. The betrayal, the lies, for not even giving you a chance to speak. Why now? I asked. Why not months ago, when it still mattered? Because I was too proud to admit I destroyed the only person who ever saw me. Her words hit harder than I wanted them to. Elena, I started, then stopped. You're not saying this because you want forgiveness, are you? No, she shook her head. I don't expect that. I just need you to know the truth before I disappear for good. I walked to the window, staring out at the fading daylight. He took everything from you, didn't he? She gave a hollow laugh. He didn't have to take it. I handed it to him. And now? I have nothing left. No job, no name, no home. Just guilt. The silence stretched between us, heavy but not cruel. You think confession fixes it? I asked. No, she said softly. But maybe it lets me breathe again. I turned toward her. You broke me once. You don't get to ask me to help you rebuild. I'm not asking for help, she said. Just forgiveness. Same thing, I muttered. She looked down. Then maybe I don't deserve either. I sat across from her, resting my elbows on my knees. You're right, you don't. But neither did I deserve what you did to me. I know. And yet, I said quietly, here we are. Her lips trembled. I wish I could undo it. You can't. I wish I could start over. You already have, I said. You just don't see it yet. She frowned. What do you mean? You lost everything, I said. That's your clean slate. The universe already did the punishing for me. She blinked, tears spilling again. So you're not angry anymore? I thought I was, I said. For a long time, anger was the only thing keeping me alive. But somewhere between building something new and letting you go, I realized revenge doesn't heal. It just feeds the wound. She stared at me, silent. I don't want to hate you anymore, Elena, I continued. I just want peace. She nodded slowly. Then forgive me. I closed my eyes, letting the word echo. Forgive. It felt foreign, soft, uncertain, but not impossible. When I opened them again, she was still waiting. I forgive you, I said quietly. Her breath caught. You mean it? Yes, I said. But forgiveness isn't an invitation. It's closure. She nodded, biting her lip. I understand. You'll find your way, I said. Maybe not today. But one day, you will. She stood, brushing away tears. You always had more strength than I did. No, I said. I just learned to stop giving mine away. She reached out, her hand hovering for a second before dropping to her side. Thank you, Daniel. For not hating me. I did, I admitted. But hate gets heavy after a while. A small, sorrowful smile touched her lips. Goodbye. Goodbye, Elena. She walked out, closing the door gently, no slamming, no drama, just silence. I sat there for a while, staring at the empty chair where she'd been. The echo of her words lingered, you were the only person who ever saw me. Maybe that was true. But I finally saw myself too, not as the man she broke, but the man who survived it. The pain was still there, faint but fading, replaced by something quieter, peace, maybe. Or acceptance. Either way, it was enough. The morning sunlight cut through the blinds, falling across the sleek, white desks of Reed Designs. I ran a hand through my hair, staring at the hum of activity around me. Sophie sat across from me, focused on her tablet, her brow furrowed. I couldn't stop myself from watching her, not in the obsessive way I used to watch Elena, but the quiet, steady way that made me feel anchored. You're distracted, Sophie said without looking up. I'm thinking, I replied, about how far we've come. She glanced at me, one eyebrow raised. From the guy who almost drowned in his own apartment to the man running a successful firm. I laughed, low and bitter, but not empty. Exactly that. And somehow, you survived me dragging you along for the ride. She smiled faintly. It was worth it. Worth it? I asked, leaning back. Sophie, this is huge. Look at us. She followed my gaze across the office. Junior designers sprawled over sketch pads, computers hummed, client calls echoed softly through headsets. My firm, our firm, wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. You deserve this, she said softly, finally meeting my eyes. You fought for it. I shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe I just refused to be broken twice. Sophie laughed, the sound warm and familiar. That sounds like a Daniel Reed line. I smiled. It's the one that keeps me alive. Later that afternoon, while reviewing a set of luxury penthouse layouts, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen and froze. Elena Reed. I stared at it, heart twisting in a strange, foreign way. The number wasn't blocked. She had reached out. I tapped the message open. Daniel, I don't know if you'll read this, but I wanted to say thank you. The blueprint you left in my folder last year, it saved me. I'm at a small firm now, starting over. I wouldn't have made it without that piece. I hope you're well. I blinked. The office faded around me. I read it again. And again. Sophie leaned over. Everything okay? I hesitated, then showed her the message. She smiled softly. She reached out to thank you. Not to hurt you. Not to argue. Yeah, I said quietly. Just, gratitude. That's all. She grew, Sophie observed. Just like you did. I nodded slowly, feeling something in my chest loosen, the last tight knot of anger I'd carried for over a year. You're thinking what I'm thinking, she asked. That maybe revenge isn't about watching them fall, I said, but standing taller than they ever expected you to. She touched my arm gently. Exactly. You didn't break her. You broke your own limits. I exhaled, leaning back in my chair. I built something no one could take from me. And you did it without hating her, Sophie added. That's true strength. I smiled faintly. Funny. For years, I thought I needed fury to survive. Turns out, patience and focus do the trick. Sophie leaned closer. And you didn't do it alone. I caught her hand, interlacing fingers with a gentle squeeze. You were here the whole time. Not just the business, Sophie, more than that. She laughed softly. More than business, huh? Yeah, I said, finally meeting her gaze fully. More than business. Her lips curved into a smile that didn't hide the warmth, the care, the subtle love we'd both refused to name for months. I let myself enjoy it. Quietly. Safely. That evening, after the last designer left and the office lights dimmed, I stayed at my desk, sketching a new building concept. The skyline beyond the window reflected the orange sunset, shadows stretching long and soft. Sophie leaned against the doorframe. Still imagining new worlds? Always, I said. Design is the one thing that never betrays me. She crossed the room and perched on the edge of my desk. You've changed, Daniel. You've healed. Look at you. I glanced at her, then out the window, seeing the city in a new light, bright, full of possibility. I admitted. And I've learned that control feels better than revenge. Watching someone fail might feel satisfying, but building my own life. That's the real victory. Sophie nudged me playfully. Poetic justice, huh? Poetic, I agreed. And peaceful. Not bitter. Not loud. Just, mine. She leaned her head on my shoulder. I like it. Me too, I said, resting my hand over hers. The phone buzzed again. Another message from Elena. I didn't open it this time. I didn't need to. The past had said its piece. I had said mine, through action, through strength, through survival. I closed my eyes and let the quiet hum of the office wash over me. For the first time, I felt free. Free from her, free from Mark, free from the weight of my own heartbreak. I finally understood, the best revenge wasn't cruelty. It was rising. It was surviving. It was building a life so full, so solid, that no betrayal could ever touch it again. And in that quiet moment, with Sophie by my side and redesigns thriving around me, I felt it, a pulse of peace, warm and steady. Maybe that was what all those sleepless nights, all the loneliness, all the rain-soaked heartbreak had been leading to. Not vengeance. Not despair. But power. Not over her, not over Mark, but over my own life. I pushed back from the desk, standing tall. The office felt different now, full, bright, alive. Sophie smiled up at me. Ready to go? I nodded. Yeah. Ready to move forward. And as we walked out together into the evening light, I realized it, I was finally free. Not through hatred. Not through revenge. But through strength, through patience, and through the quiet knowledge that I had survived, rebuilt, and risen taller than anyone ever expected. The city stretched ahead, waiting. And this time, it was mine.